Okay, why is it always metal for these guys? It's not dance music, it's not rap, it's not dubstep, it's always gotta be metal that's constantly thrown under the bus. It's not like metal is a rogue Illuminati group that threatens to take apart people's minds to become soldiers of Satan, right? Oh wait, that's exactly how you're going to paint this genre in the video. How sad. By the way, you use the word bisexuality as if it were a bad thing. It's like intolerance is a tenet of Christianity. And you're going to sit here and say that rock and roll, metal's own progenitor, did nothing to enhance the drug scene in the music world, despite you guys stating right here that metal is the reason why many get into drugs. Also, how do you know that metal leads to suicide? Do you have any scientific research, or are you going to jump on this with blind faith, as most religious extremists do? Wait, the core of metal is sex, drugs, and rock and roll? What? Are you guys saying that rock and metal are the same? Or should I go on a limb and say that rock and roll is a requirement for metal's existence? If that's the case, then why is it that Christian rock bands covered this song? These guys can say that God gave us this music, yet here you are saying that metal is horrid, and the same thing God gave us turns us into enemies of God. I barely scratched the surface of this video, and I already destroyed its main premise. It's just that easy. Again, how in the world do you know that these guys sold their own souls to hell? Do their souls have deeds that can be easily accessed at your local library or something? And what is a soul anyway? Do they exist? Do they not? I ask this because if you're going to throw words around like souls and Satan and God and hell, I expect that they have some substance, or at least empirical evidence of existence. Sorry to say, I haven't seen any evidence of all listed above. Here's something that you guys fail to understand. Metal, like your religion, has undergone various schisms. These schisms allowed for the generation of multiple genres of metal, including doom metal, metalcore, deathcore, black metal, thrash metal, new metal, progressive metal, and so on and so forth. Some of these genres are more, shall we say, intense and God-hating than others, while others are more tame and are more focused on the instrumentation rather than the let's hate God aspect some of these genres share. They're mostly different, so in effect, heavy metal is a constellation of genres that ultimately are not consistent. And you can't say all metal is leading people to hell. By the way, inside alert, Christianity is the same way. And Carnifex is deathcore, so that's why. And admittedly, deathcore sounds like crap anyways. You can't even decipher what the hell they're saying half the time, and their music sounds like a sludgy nightmare. But see, I can easily counteract your examples with examples of Christian metal bands. Yes, even Christians have their own metal that sounds somewhat similar to the guttural screams of these deathcore singers. So every time they mention a death metal band that they have a problem with, I'm going to counteract it with a Christian metal band. On with the video then. Really? Are you really going to bring back the whole we hate witchcraft thing? The Salem witch trials were a nightmare, by the way. Wait, stop. If you guys are so intent on disseminating your message, you should at least have the common courtesy to spell blasphemy right. That shows that you guys don't really care too much about what you do. Real nice to know that this is a half-hearted attempt to promote conspiracy theory thinking. Look, if you're going to make a point, again, actually proofread what you write because evidently it shows you don't want to do anything else but derive attention from this sort of metal Bilderberg group claptrap. Extreme metal, again, is another subgenre. Not all subgenres are the same. And how do you know this? How can you make such claims without realizing that you're doing this as an exercise of faith which holds zero in comparison to reason? The one true God that you speak of would have purged the earth of all evil. The one true Savior, instead of deceiving people, hardening hearts, and committing genocide, would have simply destroyed Satan and hell. I could go on talking about the problem of evil, but that would take too much time, and it's not the main scope of the video. For now, just know that God cannot be truly omnipotent, otherwise evil would be an obsolete term. Because we all know that every single metal player in the world has utilized demonic possession at some point or another to get their way. Richie Blackmore's playing, demonic possession. Robert Plant's singing, demonic possession. Dickie Peterson's songwriting, Gandalf did it. $5 says they quote mine people just to prove demonic possession occurs, since we all know it affects every single metal musician ever. Again, how in the 9 regions of hell itself do you know this? Is it reasonable to say that you sat through a plethora of rock concert footage and suddenly came to the conclusion that these guys were possessed? If you're going to categorize movements and zeal and passion as demonic possession, then by your logic, this is demonic possession. That makes no sense. You make no sense! So what I see happening here is that you're misinterpreting an obvious idiomatic expression to the point where you're equating it with demonic possession. I love how religious extremists try to establish their point based on misinterpretation and error. And here we see more proof that these guys ultimately are trying too hard to find validity in their statements. This Bill Ward quote, for instance, could be referring to God, and if you actually read into Black Sabbath's history, Bill Ward tried to rid his apartment of the devil's presence by repainting his room red. Also, this quote by Angus Young clearly shows he gets so into the guitar work that he feels he's possessed. There is no evidence to say that devils have possessed him, only that he is passionate about his work. I am an evidentialist by trade, guys, so if you're going to talk the talk and not walk the walk by copy-pasting a bunch of random quotes that sound like devil possession and then expecting us to automatically take your claims at face value, then I don't find any validity in the quotes. Wait, you're actually providing proof of devil possession, even though it's an impossible feat to even ascertain devil possession since we can easily refute the idea of hell? Well, let's see this video clip then. You're kidding me, right? Are you meaning to tell me that this is devil possession? I can just substitute this clip with any rock clip and I can easily make the dismissible claim that these people were possessed. Because of course, cursory examination always leads to empirical, provable, incontrovertible evidence of anything, regardless of lack of ability to test these claims. Here, let me show you what I mean. Whoa, whoa. Tiny Tim needs an exorcist over here. He looks like he's shaking all over and funneling in the power of the devil. Oh, shoot! Oh, damn, get a priest in the house because Keith Moon is becoming a pawn of the devil. Oh, God, his movements aren't indicative of being passionate in the performance. Oh, hell nah. More quotes, eh? Allow me to dissect all of them. John McLaughlin's music was mostly based on Eastern and Indian music. Are you meaning to tell me that you're not even going to consider the possibility that McLaughlin finds validity in Hinduism and Buddhism? Oh wait, Christians hate all other religions, so of course Buddhism and Hinduism are the devil. Makes perfect sense. Hell no. You are not throwing John Lennon under the bus. Just because he renounced religion does not automatically mean he is a goddamn heathen. There is no proof he ever was possessed, and maybe he could be acting facetious. You don't know. Taking things out of context does not help your case at all. Imagine no possessions, sir. Actually, I'm pretty sure the death growl was a vocal technique developed by metal musicians to personify the deep and dark sound they had at their disposal. I mean, the low guttural utterances employed by death metal bands such as, surprisingly, Death, were used to contrast with high screaming voices such as Rob Halford's and Robert Plant's. Then again, seeing how you guys have a religious lens to everything, you're going to say that this is how they develop a connection to the devil, even though really these voices simply embellish. Again, this is because they belong to the subgenre of deathcore. The reason they act this way is because they have deathcore influences. Of course I don't like deathcore that much because it's indiscernible music, and they do over-dramatize their ideas of darkness and Satanism and all that junk. However, I could turn this against you and say that Christian metal bands exist, and they advocate the conquering of Satan, yet they use similar vocal and instrumental techniques. If you cannot recognize your own kind defending your religion with their music, then honestly, you're myopic and the fault lies with you. About souls and deeds? Yeah, that should probably come in handy right now. You do realize that Bon Jovi was probably joking around when saying this, right? The language here sounds like the words of a teasing, exaggerating musician. Unless if you can hire fact-checkers to prove that Bon Jovi was being ultra-serious here, this is yet another misinterpretation, proving again that the Christian stereotype are religious people who miss the point. Way to make yourselves look good. Again, with a terrible grammar. You know, I'm starting to think you guys made this to demonstrate that Christians are dogmatic and babble on and on as a result of total cognitive surrender. But do go on. I love pointing out the myriad of spelling mistakes you make in this video. And this is obvious quote mining because Little Richard's first line of work was gospel music. Little Richard is a very religious man, fellas. He actually believes in Seventh-day Adventism, but you know what? Little Richard goes the extra mile by saying, these are good people in all churches. Some Buddhists really love God. Some Jehovah's Witnesses too. It doesn't matter what church you belong to. Only God can read a man's heart. So even Little Richard is more tolerant than you idiots. Best example of a quote misfire I have ever seen. Now, because the next segment of the video is simply copy-pasting quotes from the book He Came to Set the Captives Free, I am going to pick out one or two salient quotes from the book that they use to try to corroborate their arguments. Bear in mind, this book is heavily biased with religious claptrap, so I am going to explain how hypocritical they are when they talk about things such as control by Satan. Here we go. And yet here you are brainwashing hundreds of people on YouTube telling them that they should worship God and follow Jesus when you cannot prove God's existence, and you can only talk about Jesus in a historical context. That being said, trying to quash reason in favor of faith is always a minus since it impinges on how we think. As for this quote, this is quite a demonstration of human folly. All of a sudden you are speculating something so conspiracy theory-esque that the false idea of us never landing on the moon pales in comparison. This mind control crap is another way of you religious extremists saying, boo-hoo, people don't find validity in Jesus, so we're going to find ways to shove it down other people's throats. I got it, let's just say that these enemies of Jesus are affected by music in the form of mind control, even though again we have God deceiving us and killing humans mercilessly. Get over yourselves. Just screw it. Bring out the Christian metal. Thank you. This will counteract the next 45 seconds of inaccurate labeling this video demonstrates. Don't you think there's a slight bit of truth here? Referring back to an old rant video of mine where I discuss end-of-the-world prophecies, I talk about plenty of religious leaders that became false prophets and try to predict the end of the world but to no avail. People like William Miller or Charles Taze Russell or Elizabeth Prophet or Leland Jensen or even Harold Camping should not be trusted by any of us. They try to lead us to the way of chaos and destruction, so why should so-called religious prophets be paid any more mind than your average homeless man on the street raving about his own inchoate ideas? Wait, if Christianity disappeared, the world would have its darkest days. Okay, the Catholic Church imprisoned Galileo for being right with the scientific experimentation, they believed the Earth was the center of the universe, and they almost went after David Hume for being an atheist, even though Christianity was modified for personal gain, the reason for massive purges and wars, and even enough cause for favoritism between sects. Yeah, dark days didn't already occur with Christianity at the forefront. Again, conspiracy theory speculation holds nothing unless you can empirically prove it. All you did was show quotes from their songs, and that's it. You're appealing to your own opinions and saying they're inherently better than others without even bothering to fact-check what you say. This is why the entire video is a farce. Christian metal music, away! So what are you saying? Metal musicians are now part of the Freemasons? I don't know. Whenever you use the word Illuminati in this sense, it almost smacks of ignorance. It's like code word for, we don't have any other explanations, so we're going to say metal music indoctrinates people into their own cult. Save the children! I don't see how this is provable or valid. Again, this is how extremist religious folk think. Yes, the Bible talks about unicorns, dragons, stoning women if they were raped, bets with Satan over human life, genocide, fratricide, infanticide, and God telling others to kill other people. So, yeah, it's definitely a paragon of morality and reason. And deny yourself so we can't think anymore? Definitely indicative of brainwashing, the way you describe Christianity. And all you provided as proof were quotes taken out of context, music videos that are easily considered artistic embellishments, silly conspiracy theory speculations, and concert footage that show people getting in the zone with their music, even though you claim it's demonic possession. This video is as flimsy as a three-legged table. Yeah, I'll definitely subscribe if I want to hear more conspiracy theory-laden crap and unsubstantiated arguments concerning metal. And I'm surprised you're going the extra mile to further demonstrate that Christianity is full of ignorance and hatred. And that's the way it is. So, folks, all music consists of mind control. Music will sway you to do many sacrilegious things, whether it's rocking out, talking about how the music affects the musicians, playing a solid set, and most importantly, entertaining the masses. Because that is definitely what is going on here, especially when considering how metal is variegated in regards to the many subgenres it contains. Let us not forget either that religion can be just as dangerous as being violent, because once you let ignorance control your points of view, then you ultimately lose out on being objective, knowledgeable, and understanding in any situation. Once you say that God is a being that controls everything you do, you somehow lose a part of your individuality, especially when you proselytize and tell people that they are wrong. As a scientist, I have to be open-minded, but as an amateur debater, I have to identify subpar argumentation, and this video is a living testament to that concept. If you're going to be intolerant, then that's hilarious, and if you're going to disregard metal music even though many Christians support metal music, then I don't know what to think of you, and you'll probably say you're in a different group than the other Christians, thus breaking up your religion further, and further proving to me that Christianity is a constellation of similar beliefs, not a uniform series of beliefs that everyone can agree upon. The day I believe in witchcraft is the day I reject science, and the day I turn my back on metal music is the day I become alienated by music. Except for deathcore metalcore, that actually sucks major ass. Now, I am fully aware I titled my original video a final message to Hodge, but guess what? Hodge said to himself, well, I'm going to wait 2 months, break my hiatus in the process by entering into the Honest Mix live streams for the sole purpose of causing trouble with Gigs and Dive Bomb Rebel, and reveal even more inconsistencies about myself because my former friend Hobbs told me what he really thought of me after messaging him on Facebook 1 month after I was called out by most of the friends I've known on YouTube. Whew, that was a mouthful. But back on topic, Hodge is the one accusing me of changing my viewpoints randomly when he's the one that left a comment on my original video praising me for calling him out. Oh wait, evidence disposed! But now I think Hodge made his response video to me in a fit of rage and anger after I was being 100% honest with him. Something that even he asked me to be when he sent me his videos over 1 million times via my personal messages. I guess you can say this would be my final commentary on Hodge, since I already made a final response, and Hodge elected to start an unneeded argument. I'll listen in, and I'll see what I have to say about this.
Hey everybody, this is the Hodge, and yep, I'm really doing this.
Yeah, you sure are trying to prove a point, especially when you take the laziest route possible to make a video on me. I mean, seriously? Crappy audio? Default Windows Movie Maker settings? We are just leaving the starting gate, and already you are proving me right by demonstrating your abject sloth. Just for that, I'm changing the picture to something that doesn't reek of WMM naivete.
Why? Because I'm the only one that'll have the balls to say anything that doesn't suck Ben's ever-increasing edict about the situation.
I'm fairly sure that people like Loudon and Realm Wars did the same thing in the comments section of that video, but okay. Continue spouting ironic statements because I at least don't shove videos down everyone's throats nor make it so apparent that the only reason why I'm on YouTube is to force people to subscribe to me.
It's still being talked about in the YouTube commentary community, whether through Skype or random references in the Honest Mix live streams, or in the comments of the video in question. So I could honestly give 2 flying fucks about this video being 2 months old. I am keeping my fucking promise of making a response.
Actually, you're kind of exaggerating. People talked about you in the Honest Mix livestream because you were the one that dragged your stupid ass there to bother Giggs and David. If you bothered to follow your hiatus and have some tact, you would not have decided to go there just so you can pretend you never got called out on your incessant attention whoring and your perpetually faulty judgment in almost every group you were a member of. In regards to Skype, I'm not on there that often, so I know for a fact that I rarely talk about you there. And honestly, you're using the people are commenting on a video argument so you can justify waiting 2 months to make a response to me? People comment on videos all the time, and I'm fairly sure that even if you want to say people are still commenting, I only get comments on there once every 2 weeks at most. I'm actually more than convinced that you made this video after our little confrontation we had on Facebook back in September, 1 month after I made the original response to you. You came to me, again, acting like nothing ever happened. I say if I caved in and treated you as if I was completely ignorant of the situation, you would not have made this video.
Now, if you follow YoungBloodFantasy91, Tubers93, or anybody in the Honest Mix, you probably know about a recent fallout between me, Tubers93, fucking Haggis, Dragonclaw6000, DJ Richmeister, YoungBloodFantasy91, and Awkward Smile, Don't Tread on Me, Gigs is Just Chilling, Dive Von Rebel, and Aaron Van Loren.
Can you pronounce this word? I mean, it's a 5-letter word. I'm fairly sure if you hate Aaron so much, you would definitely know how to pronounce his damn name of all things. If that's even his real name at all. And again, all these people decided to turn against you because they saw your true colors. And initially it was just me, Giggs, Justin, Sean, and David that gave you the original intervention. People like Tubers and his friends caught wind of this much later. In fact, literally days before you posted this video. So you shouldn't call your skirmish with Tubers and pals fallout as much as it is a consequence of our intervention we had back in August.
Now, for anybody that wants to find Aaron's channel, it was originally Super Weirdo, then it was Socialist Drone, then it was Autistic Fuck 917, then it was Theta Surge, and as far as I know, now, it's nothing.
I like how you place so much emphasis on discussing Aaron's multitude of YouTube accounts, even though all of them are defunct and he's rarely on Skype. And really, you're getting upset over several comments Aaron made regarding your issue with being doxxed. You would probably say worse to your commentary targets, if not people who disagreed with you, if you had the chance. And even if it was in jest, Aaron could have just as easily pulled the I was just joking card, and that probably would not have mattered to you because you took his comments so personally.
This particular video in question was made by YoungBlood. I will admit that at first I didn't mind YoungBlood. I liked some of his work, he made good videos, and he certainly had a passion for what he did. And I used to be friends with him for quite a while. And I will admit that he was right about some things in this particular video. Like the true nig situation and me sending videos to everybody. I'm not denying any of that. A lot of that shit's true.
Well, I'm glad that you can man up and accept your faults. However, the issue I have with you is you refuse to change for the better. And in certain cases, you only changed because many people had to remind you constantly to actually put in the effort to edit, script, and not act like you're the center of the YouTube universe.
I will try to be as unbiased as possible because I know you people like that. And, you know, I don't think that I'm 100% right in anything. And, I mean, am I expecting you to agree with me? Am I expecting you to choose between either me or them? No. I'm letting you people decide what you agree with. Anyways, let's get started. The first thing that you, Ben, mentioned is that I was, quote-unquote, messing with you and the others. I'm not entirely sure if this is the exact quote, because I can't think at the moment. I'm trying to do this at one take, but
yet even more proof that you refuse to change for the better. You're trying to do this all in one take because you refuse to edit or rework projects, which is why your obvious attempts to increase your visibility through the YouTube Partnership Program will fail. And as I said in the original video, yes, you have been messing with me, Sean, Giggs, and the rest through your appearances in the Honest Mix live streams, your Twitter updates, and your constant spamming of Facebook friend requests. That's borderline harassment right there.
It was something around that effect. Out of mere curiosity, in which context are you referring to? If it's the context of trying to befriend you guys in the beginning, that was me being legit, but you can correct me on that. Because if it was the fact that I was quote-unquote bothering you and them, I mean, who wouldn't try to talk to people in order to make shit right? A sociopath?
No. There's a fine difference between talking to people about the problem and acting like the problem never occurred in the first place. If you wanted to make things right, you should have been more open to everyone in the Honest Mix's suggestions, not pretend to listen to everyone, ignore what we say, and then create threadbare excuses. Most of the time, you ended up doing that, so that's why people like Giggs and David were and still are pissed at you.
Excuse me. I do agree that I have been self-centered and rather prideful before, so this is also true. I do love, however, how you make it seem like it's a bad thing to want attention on a site like YouTube, which makes billions of dollars off of videos that scream, "Look at me," which, amongst other things, makes you the most hypocritical person on the face of the earth, because it's easy for you to say that with over 2,500 subscribers, and you're looking to bring attention to your fans with this video anyways.
Okay. This is coming from the guy who is so ludicrously desperate to gain video views that he will do almost anything to increase his ego a millionfold. Your inability to use a simple program that spams videos into our inboxes is proof that you're so fixated on the fame and the power of being a YouTube celebrity. Yes, I joined YouTube so that people could watch my videos, but I didn't place such a burgeoning emphasis on getting partnership and making money off my videos. And besides, Hodge, I got subscribers without any programs, gimmicks, or the YouTube partnership system, which means that any subscribers or views I get is a product of effort I put into the video from the ground up. I didn't rely on shortcuts like you do, Hodge.
By the way, what you mentioned about BlazBlue being defunct because of me is nothing more than a complete fucking lie. I didn't kill BlazBlue, extreme inactivity killed BlazBlue. If anything, Oblivion709 is to blame for horrible leadership.
Oh, I beg to differ. If you really weren't blinded by your own anger, you would realize that because you uploaded all of your videos to BlazBlue in an attempt to subvert the original purpose of BlazBlue's existence, you were drop-kicked from the group. And then what happened was that Geek tried to plan an E3 event and that failed. Because of your disregard for other people's content, Hodge, you pretty much made everyone uninterested in the group, and thus you caused the inactivity. And if anything, Oblivion had ample patience to deal with your self-serving bullcrap the whole way through.
I also noticed in the comments section of this video that you blame me for what the fuck Boredom Reactors' demise. Again, total bullshit. The reason that group died is because young author Adam re-uploaded a video from spilled.com on there for some weird reason, and GenGenRome123, ironically the person that conceived the idea for that channel to begin with, pissed on the grave with a horrible reaction video to Tiny Toons, and therefore these two people killed something they gave birth to.
Whoa. You were actually capable of making a good argument. But that still didn't change the fact that you were a part of the group and you still made excessively inferior content on the channel. And I distinctly remember you reposting videos from your main channel on there as well. Yes, you can blame inactivity for its demise, but the issue here is that you made every single group project into a reason to desperately spread your name everywhere on YouTube.
This, amongst other things, is you trying to get people to jump your dick for something you made up. And that's fucking stupid. And I also noticed how you show favoritism at its clearest in this video to Gigs, Sean, and Justin, because you suck their dicks the whole video and pull a complete 180 on me, refusing to mention any redeeming qualities and showing extreme Bi-Ism.
Is this even a word? Is it? And are you trying to make an argument, or are you just saying this because you know everything I said about you was true? The reason why I side with Justin, Sean, and Gigs is because you've hung out with them the longest. They have seen what you do. They have seen you crush group projects, annoy them to death with talk about your own videos, and what you do on a daily basis, and of course, dealt with your irritating attitude throughout your entire time in the group. I didn't side with them because of bias. I sided with them because I saw what you were doing to them.
By the way, congrats on proving Blackbuster Critic right on that part. Let the hate comments commence.
Says the guy who made a poorly done troll video to BBC just so you can anger BBC's fans. I say you said that because you're angry that I'm one of the few who are actually honest with how you act on here. Real mature, Hodge.
Can I also say hypocrisy? Because you claim, my content to be crap, yet you would tell me you liked it and are subscribed to me. Can you say hypocrisy much?
Can you say repetition? Can you say repetition? Can you say... Also, let me fill you in on something, Hodge. You asked me to look at your videos constantly. You consistently spammed me your videos on my Skype, hoping that you will get a self-esteem boost out of what I said. And you know what? Being the spineless yet merciful half-wit that I was, I said I liked your videos so that way you would stop bothering me with them. I said it to make you feel better, not because your videos were actually any good. And besides, I did give you criticism on your videos more than once, and you seemed fine with it then too. So the question is, are you really going to call me out on hypocrisy, all because I was just trying to be nice to you?
I mean, correct me on this. This is just what I'm seeing, like I said. Also, how was I trying to not entertain people first? That was sort of the idea to begin with. If I'm sending people videos, chances are I thought they would find it entertaining.
Well, if most of your videos consist of poor editing, poor audio quality, poor video quality, and apparent lack of creativity, then I'm fairly sure 9 users out of every 10 users you spammed with your content will probably write them off as boring and unentertaining. This is why you always had low video views, and now you're relying on alternate methods to garner attention to your content. Making inferior videos should not be blamed on the audience and should not justify your ravenous desire for YouTube fame.
And if people didn't want to see the video, they could simply ignore that. how the fuck is this so hard to understand? How was I misusing YouTube? And if it's supposedly always about me, how do you explain the Nation of Johnny K or Loudon Styles? A very good friend of mine, and someone that I helped advertise through co-ownership of his channel. Or GNR and SDP911, another friend of mine, who I helped with in terms of content for a while.
Because, Hodge, you always focused on your channel's visibility. The fact that you constantly discussed how relevant you wanted to be and how you wanted to talk about your high aspirations for a machinima partnership clearly shows all you care about is yourself. And you can say you helped Loudon all you want, but the reason you're saying this is because you, again, have a deep-seated urge to take credit for anything you ever do, whether it's participation in a group project or assistance with anything. And honestly, GNRSTP is a real-life friend of yours that you're also taking credit from because you probably forced yourself on his channel. And surely enough, not many people watch his content either. And in fact, Loudon himself is disapproving of what you're doing. But you don't have to take my word for it.
No, I try to keep away from Hodge, because let me tell you how desperate it's getting. He has no one else to talk to. And here's the fucking mistake I made. Before all this shit went down, me and Hodge actually were like, Hodge used to text me through my phone. So I kind of blocked his number, because that fucker would call me in the worst of situations, or he would text me in the worst of situations, because basically after everybody basically said, get the fuck out of here, he would text me nonstop, and I'm like, oh fuck, stop. So, no, I'm trying to keep away from Hodge.
Seriously, the Bi-Ism is just verbatim, and you'd be a lot more credible if you'd actually fucking show proof.
You know what? I'll just let that phrase sink in. Because Hodge later claims I'm a pseudo-intellectual, yet here he is blatantly misusing words. Just think of this phrase every time he accuses me of that. And oh yeah, Hodge, show proof that what you're doing with your attention whoring and your inbox spamming and your project destroying is increasing the visibility of your channel. I bet you definitely have a Social Blade partnership. Yes, you do.
Also, the sending videos to the same people thing is a fuck up on my part. It was a glitch on the marketing software in question, and the cool guys tags were never theirs to begin with. Don't Tread on Me, in his previous account, that kid from camp had mentioned in a Q&A to taking the idea from Kawaii Desu Nigga. And I didn't steal them because I never claimed them as my own, nor did they own copyright to the tags to begin with. Seriously, do any of you faggots even know what the word steal means?
Well, I guess you're not one for context because I used steal in a rather mocking fashion. By that I mean you emulated Sean and Giggs with these tags just so you can feel like you're part of the group. And besides, all of these guys, including you, lifted the idea from, you guessed it, Machinima, the group that you desperately want to be a part of. It doesn't change the fact that these tags are mostly useless because 100% of my videos use relevant or nearly relevant tags, and I still got video views. And, oh, I used the word faggot, I'm so edgy and not from combusting herpes.
You're somewhat right on the inspirations thing. My exact inspirations were Retsuprey, MST3K, Jim81 Jim, Boomstick545, Giggs and Sean, in addition to comedians Louis C.K., Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Woody Allen, Bill Cosby, Steve Martin, Lenny Bruce, Gary Shandling, Bill Hicks, Lenny Clark, Steve Sweeney, Jerry Lewis, Dave Chappelle, and others.
So even with all these comedy muses and all these big-time YouTube users giving you inspiration, you still produce subpar content? Okay then, nice to know you like name-dropping.
I admit my review on Dark Knight Rises was crappy, which is why I got rid of it. I have nothing to say about the editing refusal, because that shit's true. I call bullshit on my points being and in the dramatic reading on Blue Magus from forever ago.
Well, I can counterclaim bullshit with bullshit because the dramatic reading was so slow-going and as boring as molasses because there were major pauses between what I said and what you said. And of course, I slightly exaggerated with the and thing. However, it didn't change the fact that your lack of editing decreased the quality of the video. And you don't listen to anyone's advice regarding editing, yet here you are saying you lent a helping hand to Loudon and GNR. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, he's projecting his hypocrisy on me.
And because I tried to contribute as much as you did.
Whoa, I think you just incriminated yourself there. But this is more proof that you really need to stop being lazy and stop doing things in one take.
Excuse me for my stuttering. Also, there's only two words that classify why I did that Let's Watch on Foxtrot Delta Lima 97 with Mr. GWS Man. I can. Seriously, are you really unable to see that? Are you? Also, you had no problem with my editing style and told me you preferred it. But here you claim me to sound like a jump-cutting asshole. Again, hypocrisy much.
Like I said it was an improvement to make you feel better. While you actually edited, which is a first, it was so apparent you jump-cutted almost every part of your original audio, and to me it sounded forced and inorganic. To me it appeared like you tried way too hard to impress your audience, and nobody wants that. If anything, your editing should appear like everything flows and work together, and not like you graduated from the Sexy Phil School of Edgy Editing.
Also, the fact that I have aspirations for a machinima partnership? No shit, I never denied that. But I wasn't expecting it to happen right away, nor was I expecting that, to happen with, the snap of my fingers. I can't snap to save my life, so, I wasn't expecting it to happen just like that, you know what I mean. Because it took me 3 years to reach over 260 subscribers on my Hodgson3772 account, and I am well aware how hard it is to start a new channel, especially these days.
The reason why I criticized you for that is because you made it so bloody apparent. You told everyone you wanted to join Machinima. You told the world that Machinima is your dream. And the thing is, your videos are not what you call Machinima material. If anything, they would question why your video quality is low grade and your audio quality is just as bad. And if you're going to reject people's advice and not improve on yourself, then I don't know what to say, and you're chasing rainbows. Sorry if I am trying to be realistic.
I remember HDCYT, the Charlie Bit My Finger channel. As of now, last time I checked, that video has over 480 million views. Like they would ever get featured for uploading that video today. Once again, you're just making shit up to hate me for, which is retarded.
I'm making stuff up? If anything, I'm just making a valid observation based on your behavior and your inability to shut the hell up about yourself for 2 seconds to realize that people don't care if you talk the talk but not walk the walk. You say you're going to do something with GNR. Are you going to use a poorly working Dazzle and record your video game adventures with your friend in one take? Or are you going to open Pinnacle Studios or Sony Vegas for once and actually utilize fucking editing tools? Because based on what you did with this video with your crappy WMM effects, I remain convinced that you really don't care about your videos and only care about self-aggrandizing yourself.
Also, I was never, repeat, never told that I wasn't a part of the staff directly. And I have proof in the description of a Skype conversation I had with Gigs and the others at the time, which I will have uploaded as soon as possible, because at the time of this video, my laptop's power jack is fucked up and I'm using my dad's laptop to record. And the Skype recordings are on my laptop.
I'm pretty sure that these guys gave you the vibe that your previous experience with other group channels is a testament to how much of a toxin you are to their group projects. You're guilty of not listening to them in the past, and you misinterpreted what I said in my previous video on you, so I'm going to remain skeptical even if you post your evidence. And besides, you admitted to causing the collapse of the True Nigs anyway, so it wouldn't make much of a difference if you point out that they didn't say exactly, "We don't want you."
So I'll be sure to have that up as soon as possible. By the way, in terms of jumping from channel to channel to channel, which you say several times, I only have 4 channels of my own. Hodgson 307, which was suspended in November 2008, Hodgson 307-2, which I used from November 2008 until May 2012, and recently closed because it was pretty much dead anyways, Mr. Hodgson 307-2, which I used briefly especially for those little live streams or something that you had mentioned. I mean, you can tell I closed that one, the name sucked. And now Vanilla Hodge, which is my permanent account. Anybody else is possibly just a poser. Also, Sean jumped channels all the time at one point. I remember because I was there. And I didn't hear you bitch about that, you favoritist cunt.
Oh, ouch! The edgy insults are ruining my brain. I'm gonna throw myself off a cliff for your immaturity. And the reason why I didn't bitch out Sean is because he kept getting his videos flagged down by idiots all the time. You, on the other hand, had only one flagged YouTube account, and the other 3 channels were the product of channel jumping. Sean had 3 or 4 channels that I know were suspended because of false flag attempts. I would call you names, but that's reserved for playground fights, and we're not in middle school anymore.
I also admit to making excuses, which I have no comment there. I love how you call me a lost cause, by the way. When I think of lost causes, I think of people like Joshua8428 or Meta527 II. And give me a fucking break, dude. A million things have to go wrong before I wind up like them. So that was obvious hyperbole on your part.
I admit that I exaggerated a bit, But you are still a stubborn, recalcitrant attention whore that again refuses to listen to people. And the hallmark of just ignoring what people say to squirm your way out of situations is making excuses, which you just admitted to doing. Hodge, unless you radically renovate your channel, you are lost because Giggs and Sean told you multiple times what you were doing was wrong, and you refused to listen to them all those occasions. Hell, I think you didn't listen to us back in August when we confronted you. And after our conversation on Facebook, you just reverted to using crappy editing and then got on the warpath when I called you out, again, for what you did to me, Giggs, and gang. So, you know what? I think you're dangerously close to being a lost cause based on your previous actions.
And I remember the live streams you brought up, and the reasons I did those was, yet again, because I can. Because I can, motherfucker. It's the internet.
Because I have the freedom to constantly whore myself out and make inferior content. The internet deserves mediocrity, guys!
And in terms of that whole video with BBC, for anybody that remembers that very shitty troll video that I had made towards Blockbuster Critic that wound up being the whole catalyst for his drama with Fanfic Critic, I admit to wanting relevancy. I'm not denying that. But once again, you had added hyperbole to how I said it without any proof whatsoever. Because you made it seem like I was like... You basically made it seem like I was some fucking 12-year-old prepubescent child saying this shit. When in actuality, I was just saying shit like, you know, hey, maybe you'll become relevant from this. I was saying it around that term. That speech pattern, if you will. Like, I was saying it a lot more cool and collected. You're making it seem like I was, like that was the only thing I cared about.
And here we see Classic Hodge with excuses, excuses, and more excuses. And did I mention excuses? Because I'm pretty sure he's just saying that the way he said it should justify his unending hunger for recognizance online. He habitually talked about relevancy to me and other people, and because he didn't deny that, that means that we know that all he craved is attention on YouTube and nothing else. All he wants are views and subscribers, and he makes it apparent by shoving those goals down everyone's throats and incessantly asking people to subscribe to his poorly done videos. So, in effect, you do sound like a prepubescent child because your main goal is for everyone to revolve around you.
Oh, and in terms of the spread your ass Elam thing, let me ask you this question. Are you fucking retarded? No. You answer that question for me when you took an account called Spread Your Ass Elam. Seriously. I mean, you have to be retarded, because it should be obvious that I was sharing an inside joke among peers. Anyone with an IQ above 0 would have guessed I was joking. I sure as hell would have thought the likes of you would know that.
Oh no! More insults! My honor! Defiled! Oh, the humanity! Look, Hodge, if you're trying to be funny, it really did not work. You just made an account out of nowhere acting like you thought it was the funniest thing ever, when really it was just you being impulsive and ridiculous. I slammed you for that because of how staggeringly unfunny it was, and because I actually know what a bad joke is, unlike you.
And even more hypocrisy because you mentioned that it's self-centered to want to be partnered and all that when you were part of the Honest Mix at one point, which recently achieved partnership from Social Blade.
Oh my freaking Jesus. Let me tell you something about partnership. If you really yearn for partnership to the point where you will stop at nothing to be partnered and use tactics like spamming videos into people's inboxes, then yeah, that deserves to be criticized because it's like driving a truck naked into Hollywood with "Hire Me" painted on the side of the truck. It shows that you're obviously pretentious and desperate for YouTube's attention. Also, speak for yourself. You're the one that's unable to gain Social Blade partnership anyway, so I don't know what you're doing wrong unless Social Blade explicitly pointed out what's wrong with your channel, which we could add to our tally of things Hodge ignored. And not to mention, I pretty much told Sean and Giggs that I will not be part of the Honest Mix unless if I have free time or if I really wanted to put the effort in. I was just thrown into a live stream with them randomly, so that explains why my face is on their channel. Ergo, your argument is hilariously flawed. Excuse
me for going on a tangent for a minute, but I was actually legitimately pissed off at what he said about me being doxxed. Because he pulled a complete 180 on what he said about me being doxxed during the whole Sick Kirby thing. I'm not going to explain who Sick Kirby is, look him up. Saying I deserved it just for being stupid on the internet. Think about that for a second. Just think about it.
I am thinking about it. I did not, under any circumstances, 100% condone you from showing your entire damn name online. I said it was your choice to show your name. I again was more forgiving because you were my friend. However, I didn't pull a complete 180 because I did not completely let you off the hook for that. Maybe if you actually watched the Sick Kirby video, you would understand and not succumb to obvious misinterpretation.
Ben, you were essentially kissing Aaron's ass, and he essentially implied that I deserve to have my life in danger over trivial internet shit. Honestly, I lost all respect for you in one fell swoop for that. The Skype call you refer to, the one related to Sean, I will link in the description. but you were a little wrong in a certain effect, because it initially had Sean, Justin, me, and Dive Bomb Rebel at one point. Giggs was never in that conversation.
Oh, so if I agree with you, then it's all good in Hodgeland, but if I agree with Aaron, I would be kissing his ass. What double standards? And the main idea I agree with Aaron about regarding your endangerment online is that showing your full name is not the smartest move to make. Aaron similarly had problems with your attitude online, and ever since, I realized that you're treating me like Aaron, so in effect, all you're doing is castigating your critics and acting like an internet tough guy to prove a point. And who cares who was in the damn call with Sean? You still dropped Sean's name, and Tubers93 can back that up for me because he has a copy of that very same video.
You claim that I did it without Sean's permission, which is yet again bullshit, because I asked permission to upload it and he didn't mind. I also admit Sean's name was mentioned, but I didn't say his name, he used it by himself. And he didn't tell me until later that he didn't want it mentioned, which I will provide proof on in the description of this video. I never had any problem with Sean on any type of level, and even if I did, no one deserves to be doxxed. You can quote me on that as much as you want.
No one deserves to be doxxed, eh? First of all, Mr. Accuse Me of Hypocrisy, you're the one that again failed to edit out any sort of incriminating information in the video, so the onus is on you because you did not review the content and uploaded it willy-nilly. Sean took umbrage to that because he noticed you did not edit any of that out, and you completely ignored my example of our dramatic reading we did on Meta 527 II. I reviewed all the audio and edited out Sean's dox dropping of his old school. That shows that I was prudent and you weren't. Also, let's talk about the many times you hunted down people's Facebooks and tried to add them multiple times without their permission either. I've gotten testimony from people like DJ Richmeister, Dark1707, Big CN Fan, and several others that you tracked down via their Facebooks and attempted to add them. More than once, may I add. So obviously you don't care about their information and you had to search their docs to figure that out. So I'd like to hear your explanation on that if I don't mind, since you obviously don't value privacy.
Also, you gave me leniency for using my full name in the Sick Curry video and defended me being doxxed in the beginning. Yet you have the gall to say I deserve to have my life put in danger for trivial internet shit and having my full name. Yet you have no problem with Justin Elam having his last name mentioned. Are you shitting me? Are you seriously this fucking biased? The reason why I have my full name out there is the same reason Justin does. Because I fucking can.
And you have the gall to put Sean's life in danger and scare other people on Facebook by randomly adding them? Okay, then fair's fair, but let's talk about Justin Elam's name. This is Justin Elam's name. Notice how he only includes his first and last name. Now let's look at your name. Joshua David Hodgson. How many Joshua David Hodgsons are on YouTube revealing their full name with such specificity? More than one Justin Elam exists on YouTube, so if someone doesn't know which one they're looking for, they might be a bit delayed in finding him. However, you, Hodge, revealed all components of your name, which can be easily cross-checked with doxing websites. That's not to say anyone should do it, however, you made it easier on people who will go after you and dox you. I'm not going to 100% condone Justin's disclosure of his full name either. I never really did to begin with because, as I said in the previous video on you, Hodge, Justin revealed his full name for the same reasons you have, which is why I also feel ambivalent regarding Justin's case. I'm not going to completely defend anyone who reveals their full name on YouTube, but if they are uncomfortable about it, like how Sean is, then that should be taken into consideration, which you did not do, Hodge.
The reason why I hate Aaron is because he is a shallow, non-contributing product sponge cunt that pretty much kisses the ass of Giggs and David, and I haven't seen him do anything that wasn't leeching off of that. Like, seriously, I haven't seen him bring anything new to the table whatsoever. The dude hates my ass based on no criteria. I just had to be myself for him to hate me, and he wanted me doxxed just for being myself, which is, quite frankly, fucked up. And quite frankly, the moment you started defending the likes of that, I was so happy I didn't go to your college, because I would have walked in your dorm and punched you in your motherfucking face.
And I'm glad you didn't decide to stalk me either. Way to go, you made a smart decision for once. It's true that right now Aaron is inactive. However, I've known about him for a bit, and he doesn't seem like a massive asshole. If anything, when you did act like yourself, you pretty much dissuaded him from talking to you because you used your usual shtick of, hey, look at me, pay attention to me, it's about me, this conversation is about me trying hard and failing. And of course, what Aaron probably said about the doxing was harsh, but that's only because you were very careless about your info to the point where it surpassed what Justin did with his name. Aaron was being honest with you, and you just did not want to hear an honest opinion.
This doesn't usually happen, but I'm actually pissed. And also, you say that I was supposedly an enabler for Blazing Mosquito. No, the fuck I wasn't. He did that over trivial bullshit on the internet. I'm not going to go into full detail, but it was something related to Tubers93. And he sucks my dick now, but I digress.
Regarding the entire incident, both parties were at fault. You enabled him by showing your full name, and he had anxiety problems. Go figure, the internet attracts mentally unstable people.
I know all about the discussion Ben is bringing up in this video that we had a little while later, and I will link that recording uncensored and uncut in the description as well whenever I can get it posted. By the way, I love how you try to imply that I am some loser with no plan for my future, when in fact I am currently working on getting ready for college, I have a girlfriend, I have a decent paying job, I have plenty of IRL friends, GNR, STP911, and Sora the Echidna included, and I go out a hell of a lot more than half of you faggots combined.
And yet, even with all these things, you still broke your hiatus, constantly invaded Honest Mix live streams, and continually made updates on Twitter and YouTube. And even with your job in place, you're still promising videos every Tuesday and Friday, but you already broke that promise since last Friday passed and you showed nothing. Yet again, you show complete disregard for your own channel and your own videos, and all you care about is the adrenaline rush you get when you receive attention for your content.
I'm the Two-Face here? Really now, I'm the Two-Face. Judging on the fact that you have clearly shown that you say shit behind people's backs and don't have the balls to be completely honest with anybody, instead pulling a 180 and releasing to the public, I mean, if anything, you're the Two-Face. You are a huge, two-faced, condescending, hypocritical, lying, piece of shit joker pretending to be a pseudo-intellectual that just happens to have potential in a music career.
How can I pretend to be a pseudo-intellectual? Do you even revise your... I shouldn't even ask that, because all you care about is recording crap in one take. Well, Hodge, you are a self-ingratiating, egocentric, condescending charlatan that gets reactionary and sensitive when people call you out, and you blatantly ignore people like a recalcitrant child and throw expletives and insults around trying to be this awesome and edgy internet tough guy, when in effect you look like a try-hard failure on YouTube. How about that? In fact, I say you are the pseudo-intellectual when you use words wrong and misinterpret half the crap I say. Wait, that's actually too nice. You pretend to be a pseudo-intellectual because that's the most you can ever do to save yourself here. Also, Emily, how I love you so, we walk into wherever we go, oh my god.
And with that, I burn bridges, since it is pretty much evident from recent conversations that he doesn't want to listen to the other side of the argument, or listen to anything that would destroy himself. Reason being is the fact that he blocked me off his channel and the Honest Mix.
Which I did, because I didn't want you constantly spamming, "Hey, can you add me to your box?" every goddamn day of the week. And I don't have the Honest Mix's password, so you can't blame me for this. Sean, Giggs, Justin, and whoever is in the Honest Mix probably decided to do that independently of me. Especially since I tried to move on from my video, yet you decided to reignite this conflict just to attempt to save face.
And then made this video while I have little to no say, which essentially just proves to me that he is the ultimate pussy.
Actually, you had the freedom to make this video the entire time. You never were stifled in regards to your voice. And, in fact, I never blocked you or removed you from my fake Facebook, so you were able to talk to me there. I'm not a pussy if I know that keeping people who constantly bother me as contacts will just inconvenience me in the future. This is one of these rare exceptions to my blocking policy, and I'm pretty sure it's a valid reason to block, considering that Hodge would have spammed the hell out of me with unneeded messages and unneeded bickering.
So, I'm going to be addressing a few issues in this video. So if you don't know, I've been getting a lot of hate recently.
Okay, it's bad enough that you are resorting to jump cuts so that you can demonstrate how severe the YouTube partners corrupted your mind, Phil DeFranco. But when you jump cut poorly, that half of your sentences are interrupted by your own bad editing. It clearly shows how desperate you were to appear as douchebaggy as humanly possible. Way to go, kid.
There was this kid, and he was getting a lot of hate, and me being very nice and kind.
I don't know whether to interpret this as genuine or sarcastic, because based on the angry and smug tone of your voice, it almost appears you are parodying yourself.
I decided to defend him. And so, they just started randomly attacking me, and doing a bunch of crap that was unnecessary.
Well, the reason why people decided to criticize you relentlessly was because, most likely, you left immature comments riddled with insults and generalized all of your detractors, saying that all they do is play video games and have no life, which is pretty inaccurate given that the counterexample to your conjecture is me, a detractor of yours that has actually plenty of friends and plays no video games. What do you have to say to that, Alex?
I find it funny how they claim that I have no life, yet some of them have the nerve to make videos about me, where they download all of my videos, comment on them, and even add little subtitles. And I find it ironic how you say that I have no life, yet you have enough time to do that.
Oh, really now? You think it takes too much time for us to download stuff because we absolutely have no life? Oh, look at this. It only takes at least a minute and a half for me to download one of your videos with real players, something that I actually used to download this video for my commentary. So yeah, 1 minute out of my life totally gone, in the dust, wasted, is exactly equal to I have absolutely no life, because I take 1 minute of my time to download a video. Oh, I'm so horrible.
I'm going to try to keep this short and simple because unlike the people who are hating on me, I have better things to do than ramble on about someone that I barely know.
And yet you ramble for almost 3 minutes about people you don't even know and stereotyping who your critics and detractors are. The irony is simply astounding.
The reason I'm making this video isn't to hate on anybody, it's to address a few issues that have been occurring. I find it funny how these people call me talentless.
Well, because you rely on effects to make yourself look better and hide any faults you have in your music videos, and based on what I've seen here, your editing is shabby and you try too hard to resemble other YouTube partners. I guess being unoriginal is your forte, eh?
Out of curiosity, I just go to their channel. When I go to their channel, I usually find no video, around 20 subscribers, and a pretty weird background.
Note how you said usually, and note that what you said here was invalid because people like Vesper the Snake and Oblivion709 declared their dissatisfaction with your videos. They totally pervade your classification. So what you just said there was useless to your argument.
Honestly, I really don't think you should be calling me untalented when you don't have any videos of yourself proving that you're some talented person.
Oh, but they do. Let's take a look at Vesper the Snake's channel. Let's take a look and notice the right-hand side. Videos, 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 and even more videos. And let's not forget, videos. Did I mention videos yet? Oh, you still don't believe me? Well, let's look at another detractor of yours. I mentioned Oblivion709. Well, let's go to his channel, shall we? Now, let's take a look at his channel right here. Oh, it's, oh, look at that! There are so many videos on the right-hand side we can check out. We can check out these videos over here. Scrolling down, we can definitely see even more videos. And, by the way, guys, this is not including Oblivion709's backup accounts. But yeah, these are all the videos that he made as well, showing how much he edited. And if you want to see his good edits, go check out these videos where he does his dubbing, which also incorporates something called talent. Something that he definitely has, as opposed to you, Alex, who relies on jump cuts just so you can get your point further.
I don't make videos to prove that I have talent. Really, a lot of people could do what I do, but I enjoy making videos. I enjoy it. Why do you have a problem?
Well, with YouTube freedom comes YouTube responsibility, and in the internet world, there will always be people that will come up to you on your channel and execrate the most vulgar stuff imaginable. And see, the best way to fight them back and destroy their premise on here is to ignore them. And if you get critics, don't assume that they are haters because they are two completely distinct things. Confuse the two and you will be dealing with backlash.
Also, I find it funny how people call me gay because I like Maroon 5. Since when does your taste in music determine your sexuality? Because I didn't receive the memo.
Really, that's the only point of yours I agree with when discussing things seriously. But trolls and others might use this faulty point to get a rise out of you. And clearly what you said 2 seconds ago can easily be considered a negative reaction to trolling.
But seriously, these people take the time to make videos just for me.
And you take the time to make badly edited, jump cut-laden videos for the haters. I fail to see why you think you're on stronger ground here.
I download a bunch of my music videos, add subtitles. These videos aren't just a few seconds, they're 2 to 3 minutes long. Say that they're not jealous and everything.
Seriously, if you're going to imitate other overrated YouTube partners, the least you could do is actually preserve your sentences so that I understand what you're saying.
And that I'm butthurt. I'm not bothering you, and you still want to hate on me for making videos.
You personally may not be bothering your critics, but the fact that your videos are there for all the YouTube public to watch really gives anyone an open invitation to speak their mind about your content. Unless if you block them, of course, which means you are abridging what other people can say about you. Sensitive much?
The logical explanation is you're jealous.
No, that's the overused, overdone, faulty explanation that you refer to when you have no other counter-argument to defend yourself. And sadly, most of the fangirls that defend Alex go for this tired, fallacious comeback, which makes it valid in their eyes. It's brainwashing at work, people.
And a lot of them defend themselves by saying that they're criticizing me. Allow me to tell you the difference between criticism and hatred. Criticism. Hey, I don't really like your video. I mean, it's okay, and I like some parts. But you could do this part a little better by doing this.
That's a poor definition of criticism, because you seem to factor in the faulty claim that your critics have to like parts of your videos to be real critics. However, if one person said your entire video is bad and needs to be reworked, then you get angry and block, such as what you did with me.
Hating. You suck. I understand that people have the right to be opinionated, but there's a difference in just being mean and a butthole and giving criticism.
Yes, and that difference you don't really define that well, so why should we lend any support to that delineation when you don't know who your critics are and your haters? And why should you care about them anyways? If you really were above your haters, you would ignore them. But nope, you get angry, make videos like these, and block people. Clearly, you have the solution to everything.
From the few people that I've seen that hate on me that actually make videos, things that I've seen that they make videos about are Pokemon, video games, and even ponies.
Okay, can you please learn how to say at least one sentence without resorting to jump cuts? Because I'm starting to become convinced that you have a pathological case of making random pauses in my speech syndrome. And besides, that was only some of your so-called haters that like these things. I like classic rock, reading, drawing, collecting coins, and playing the keyboard. And I still dislike your videos.
Now, me personally, I don't think those videos showcase your talent, but I'm not the one to judge. Because honestly, if you like doing it, I don't have a problem with it.
And that is very admirable of you, Mr. Alex. Now, if you can easily respect other people's videos, then I think it's in your power to respect other people's opinions, and by association, actually shake off the haters and ignore them. I don't think it is not within your capabilities. You just take things way too seriously.
There's a huge difference between criticism and hatred. Obviously, you don't understand that. It's kind of annoying how they comment on all of my videos, calling me butthurt, which, by the way, doesn't make you cool because no one says it.
Oh, I think 4chan and plenty of other image board sites as well as certain social circles would tend to disagree with you there, Alex.
Despite what you say, I'm not getting off of YouTube. I will continue to make videos, and you aren't stopping me. You're not my mom, you're not the police. I will continue to do what I love to do, and if you have a problem with that, too bad.
Okay, then if you're going to continue to make videos, there will be even more people to criticize your work. If you can't deal with the whole community, then the best option is to leave. And if you think blocking all of your so-called haters will stop the hate, it's only going to fuel the fire. I suggest you deal with that as well.
If you love what you do, you people hate on you, that just means that they're jealous.
No, it means that they have a legitimate problem with your videos and they want to speak their mind. But in the world of Alexville, any negative opinion is automatically hated, so your bias only provokes them further, and thus they leave hate comments. I'm surprised you haven't made that connection yet.
I really want to thank all of you who have supported me through my long journey on YouTube, and who will continue to support me as I make videos.
You hear that, fan drones? Your support is essential to me, and if there are any more haters, don't be afraid to defend me in reckless abandon in the hopes of dispelling all hate. The sun never sets on the Alex Empire.
Love you all. Peace.
And that's the way it is. Alex, there are people in this world, I hate to say, that will always be here to criticize your work, and that will always be here to have something to say about whatever you do, whether it may be video making or your essays in class. And truthfully, that is something you must ultimately accept, because if it weren't for criticism, we wouldn't be as far as we are right now as a civilization. And as for YouTube comments, and hate comments in general, let me just say that it is inevitable to get these comments at least once as a YouTuber, if not several times, if you have as much support as you do. So when you get overzealous and block people based on your anger and based on your personal interpretations of internet culture, then people will criticize your reactionary attitude.
Yep, I'm doing this. Why? Because I think it needs to be done.
Well, assuming that you have the prerogative to say something about drama that didn't even affect you is like me saying that I can speak for the intern Japanese in America. I wasn't there, and I have no room to talk about it.
It's still being talked about, videos are still being made about it, so I think something needs to be said on my point. I always never been afraid to give my 2 cents.
No matter how misguided or erroneous it is.
Amphros Man is either 15 or 16. Metal Lily is either 11 or 12, meaning at the least there's a 3-year difference, and at the most there's a 5-year difference.
Yeah, you produced that argument from a friend, simply put, hearsay, and yet you accused everyone of being victim to hearsay anyway. I love the smell of hypocrisy in the morning, don't you?
And I think I'm going to discuss what isn't being talked about here, which really needs to be talked about here. Now, most of the time I like to jump right into it, but I understand some people may not have followed this, so let me just give a quick summary of exactly what the hell I'm talking about at this point.
And the summary is loosely based on videos everyone made on Joshua, including commentaries and other related nonsense. And yet he never was in a Skype call with Joshua, nor has he discussed with Joshua concerning any matter on Skype or elsewhere. And yet he can say something about the issue without having a self-serving bias to guide him. We'll surely listen to you, buddy.
Joshua 8428 was in a call where he supposedly said that anyone who likes My Little Pony was stupid. Ariana heard it from a friend and began to cry. So then several people made videos about it.
And so did Joshua.
Joshua tried to apologize, more videos were made about those ones, and then we get to the Dread Dormammu thing.
You still haven't really mentioned that Joshua tried to apologize 3 separate times and even sucked up to Shinana's commentary on Gyro Hedgie, when in actuality he could not even figure out what day Shinana made the video. You may know a lot about what is going on, but there are several subtle nuances of it that you will never seem to get, given that you are extraneous to the situation. You want to know why people are bashing you, Geek? Because even with that information at hand, you were originally not friends with either Shanana or Joshua, and yet you decide to enter with some grand understanding of the whole thing. Kind of presumptuous, don't you think?
Ariana put out a challenge to Joshua that if he could improve his ways in 30 days, she would give him her forgiveness. So here enters the dread Dormammu, who tried talking to him, but since it wasn't one of the people he needed to talk to, and they didn't get along, he ignored him and watched videos. This got Dormammu here mad, and he decided to start yelling, and his mom came in and basically cut down the amount of time he could spend online.
Only temporarily, since he literally came back the next day, and I don't think a punishment was even enacted given that nearly every other day after the incident, he kept returning to Skype calls. So, really, what you said was a bit negligible.
Now, some of you probably feel pretty informed now, while others are probably saying, yeah, but I've heard all this shit before, I've been following this. So why are you making this video? Well, I'm going to say what needs to be said.
You act as if that, when you say what is needed to be said, the world is going to change for you. Sorry, dude, but if you want to endorse the negative side of the debate, at least present it in a mature manner and not act like you were some messiah to the people, trying to open their eyes to the opposing viewpoint. That sort of thing can rouse the ire of plenty.
Now, sit down, this may shock you. Basically, Joshua should not be to blame for most, if not all of this. This is basically all Ariana's fault.
So Joshua did not blow anything out of proportion, because that is what you just said now. You specifically said that Joshua should not be to blame for anything. I'm wondering if you're failing to realize that Joshua is pretty much a lost cause. Given his previous reputation and his way of dealing with criticism, I am not surprised he is overreacting about this, and yet you transfer blame to Ariana. Tell me, have you seen any of Joshua 8428's videos? Because they are clearly redolent of ass hurt.
Now, I'll let you go get your socks because I know they've just been blown off, but stay with me. Ariana comes off like such a fucking child in this. You know, and you know why? Here's a little fun factoid for you. She's 19.
And yet you are how old and you're resorting to calling Ariana names? Mature, dear boy.
Yeah, 19. She is college bound. She's supposed to be getting prepared for the real world, and she's crying over a comment that you would hear on any elementary school playground.
Dude, it wasn't just the comment that brought her to tears. It was the fact that Joshua deferred from apologizing about it. You see, dude, when you're friends with others, you seem that you know the mechanics of how a friend works to a certain extent. What they like, what they don't like, all that hooey. But because Joshua was making those comments, and yet time and time again he refused to apologize like the stubborn and hard-headed guy that he is, this drove Ariana to get exceptionally upset. And since she is a bit sensitive, she cried because Joshua refused to recognize her feelings. You have to realize, man, girls can sometimes operate from their emotional centers. But since you missed the point of that insult you hurled at Ariana was off base.
It's like, what the fuck? And there's no fucking excuse. There is no fucking excuse. I love that she brought up, oh, well, I've been bullied through preschool all the way through high school. It's been so hard. You know what? You suck it up and you deal with it. I was bullied through elementary through middle school. It's getting better for me in high school, but I had to fucking deal with it.
Let me tell you a little story, Geek. I remember being bullied for 8 weeks straight at camp I went to a long time ago. Everyone called me names, messed with my lunch, tried to trip me, refused to be my swim partner, all that junk. And what did the counselors do? Absolutely nothing. Because they were apathetic and didn't care. You've been bullied for years, right, Geek? So, didn't the thought ever cross your mind that the authority figures you trusted in did nothing to resolve the matter? Isn't that distressing to you? Let's think about how a girl sometimes operates from her emotional centers again. If that girl is bullied for years and no one does anything about it, or at least fails in attempts to defuse the situation, don't you think that the victim here will be sensitive to further bullying, or at least value friendship more, since they feel there are less people in the world to trust? Ever stop to think of that possibility? That's why Ariana got upset, because a good friend of hers became, in a way, one of the bully figures she wanted to repress from memory.
At one point, every kid had to deal with bullying. There's no reason that you are fucking special. I mean, God's sakes, you're not in high school anymore. You have to worry about college. Why are you worrying about what this little kid is saying? Shouldn't you be worrying about, I don't know, fucking college guys?
A. Joshua is not a little kid. From what I can gather from Skype conversations with him, because, you know, I was somewhat involved, he is 18. That's not far from Ariana's age, dude. And B, the fact that you made such a simple error in judging Joshua's age, even if he could be older than you, indicates how much of a great source you are when it comes to the story.
And no. I'm not saying you're a whore or anything. I will, however, say your vagina chews dicks like sharks chew on fish.
And that was relevant to your side of the debate about this how? Clearly, ad hominem attacks like yours make you this indescribable force or something. Like somehow whenever you use them, you are exempt from not using logical fallacies to bolster your argument.
The other arguments are often fucking hilarious, like, oh, she got backstabbed, man. She got backstabbed. First of all, you had to make me reference a Kesha song.
Well, I checked the lyrics to TikTok, Your Love Is My Drug, Take It Off, blah blah blah, and hell, even Steven. And none of them ever mention the word backstabbed. So unless you're totally into Animal or an in-the-closet Kesha fan, you're probably distorting the truth again. Also, Kesha. I have to listen to plenty of Beatles to counteract that lyric search.
Second, backstabbed? Are you serious? Like, this is such a minor comment that this is not a backstabbing. You should have just went and fucking talked with him. Like, you know, what the fuck is going on with this shit? Why'd you say that? This shouldn't even been anything. And if he kept insulting you afterwards, you should have come back with something like, oh yeah, well your Sonic character looks like a bag of Skittles threw up on it, so shut the fuck up.
Well, in Ariana's defense, in one of the chats I was in with her and Joshua arguing, she did call him a pointless recolor, which plenty of force, no less. And yet Joshua refused to apologize until too late. He kept deferring and deferring, which is like him, considering that from the beginning of his commentating career, he was incapable of saying the right thing.
You know, it's that fucking simple. It's not that hard of a concept. It doesn't have to be. But no, she has to fucking overreact like a little petulant child and make video after video about it. Ugh.
And yet Joshua did not do the same exact thing in response to Ariana's videos. You think that Joshua would be mature at the tender age of 18, but in this case, it is not possible. Making 3 apology videos, and then trying to suck up to Ariana, and then trying to call her on Skype multiple times, and then trying to find loopholes in her challenge to him, that is totally mature, Geek. Completely.
God, what the fuck is wrong with you, Shiana?
You know, if you want to act like a major authority on the situation, at least pronounce her username right. Shanana forever. Not Shayana, not Triana, or your butthurt white knight stop Shay Carl, it's Shanana. Memorize it.
So she completely overreacted. Even she is admitting in this video that she was a complete cunt flap.
Again, how much effrontery are you going to use to get your point across? Calling Ariana and please excuse me for saying this, folks, cunt flap, is not even relevant to the issue. It is your personal issue. You are attacking Ariana as a person, therefore it is ad hominem and can be easily ignored. I know you say it is your style, but for the love of God, at least approach this with one little minutia of maturity.
About this entire situation, she admitted that she may have taken it too far. You think? And yet, at the same time as acting like a fucking child, she also acts like a snake. Here's a couple reasons, I think. One, she's playing the victim.
I fail to see how using hyperbole like this will make your argument stronger. She may feel she is the victim, but Joshua is playing the victim card too, complaining about how everyone is torturing him, how people are ruining him, and of course how he blames everyone else for things he did. He still has some resentment to Slap Happy Gamer when his original account got hacked by Sinister Postman. If he can hold onto grudges for the longest time, and I'm sure he hates Mario Shoryuken for calling his school, then how is he not a victim? Riddle me that, Geek.
And playing it up to the umpteenth degree. I'm serious. The outrage over this has become so fucking ridiculous that if you didn't know the context of what this was, you would think Joshua fucking raped her ass.
You know, I should make a drinking game out of this. And I should. Every time Geek acts hyperbolic, take a drink of anything you have available. Bottoms up for this one.
And second, I don't know if you think this is just coincidence or not, but don't you think it's funny that she released a video, and she's friends with several friends who are very popular, have subscribers?
Well, I wouldn't say popular. I guess you could say that they are well-known commentators, but that is about it. Popularity I can take with a grain of salt on YouTube anyway, so if they had 300 subscribers or 500, why would I care? Just wanted to point that out.
And like fucking clockwork, they immediately do videos on Joshua, thus getting their message out there, thus getting more people to do videos on Joshua, giving him a worse reputation. Because to me, I just don't see that as a fucking coincidence.
Why shouldn't it be? The people that originally made commentaries on the Joshua tree were friends of Ariana, and they were defending her. Here's another question, Mr. Geek. When anyone defends you in your videos, do you treat this as flattering or taking it too far? The answer is no. You appreciate anyone that defends you. Anyone, including this guy and this guy. So you know what, dude? I really don't see the point in you trying to find correlation in something that would inevitably happen if a friend was in need of help. That's redundant.
And some of these videos range from bad to god-fucking awful, like Bound in Flames 23, who in between watching anime and having periods...
Perhaps I can make another drinking game out of the many times Geek tries to use ad hominem attacks to get his way? What the hell, I'll categorize it under hyperbole. Cheers.
Says stupid shit like this.
Joshua made a friend of mine, Ariana, or Janana Forever Cry. He said she's stupid for liking My Little Pony, something that she's basically expected to like, since she's, oh, I don't know, a girl!
Wow, you just basically said that just because she's female, she's expected to like this.
Well, in her defense, Bound with Flame 23 sent me a message through Skype trying to re-establish her points, and here it is. I'm not going to read it in its entirety, but basically to an extent you took what she said somewhat out of context. I'll leave it up here for a few seconds so that you can read it.
That's like saying because she's a girl, she's expected to like Justin Bieber. And I think the women at Black Pond Movement might disagree with you on that one, sweetheart. Then there's Slap Happy Gamer, who, after watching her video, all I wanted to say was this.
Shut up, bitch!
Although, to be fair, I want to say that...
Take a drink for indirect hyperbole.
Every time she gets on the microphone. I mean, god damn it, Slap Happy Gamer. You take a 1-minute video, make an 11-minute commentary, and accomplish nothing in those 11 minutes.
Geek, this is utterly tangential to the topic at hand. We're talking about the drama that has occurred between Joshua and Ariana, not the 1001 reasons why you hate Slap Happy Gamer. I know you are reserved to your opinion, but for God's sake, don't you think you're taking this a little too seriously?
You are not funny in that entire fucking video, and you bring up points so flimsy they wouldn't hold up the dreams of Ethiopian children.
How in the flying goddamn mothership from Mars does that rather insensitive comment factor into what you are trying to discuss? You know what? Take a drink for flagrant hyperbole, and another drink for how goddamn extraneous and mind-numbingly uncalled for that statement was.
But to be fair, you are a third-generation commentator, so I guess that's to be expected.
Oh, ouch! The overused third-generation commentator card. I get it, because this person is third generation, this person is automatically a terrible commentator. You know, this is like the 30th time I heard this argument from anybody who bothers to compartmentalize the commentary community based on when people join YouTube. I never even spent any part of my time classifying these people until recently, when people automatically assign this arbitrary stigma to third-gen commentators. This is a prime example of a false dichotomy. If you really do have a problem with third-gen commentators, refer to Giggles the Hedgehog for why people despise them that much. Not this guy who makes crap analogies reminiscent of Gyro Hedgie 453.
And then there's Ryan, aka Supersonic Fan 407, who, from what I've heard from Loudon, he seems like he's a nice person, and I've talked to him and he seems alright. But dude, in that apology video, you come off like an absolute bitch.
Again, another misnomer just exited from your hasty mouth. It's Supersonic 407. And the video that he made really only discussed his feelings on the matter. What, so a man can't have feelings about the situation? They all have to be gravely stoic? And of course, hyperbole yet again. Take another drink, dear friends.
In that video, you apologized for nothing. You did nothing wrong in that video, and you act. You know, it's like Tommy Dreamer when he started asking Dixie Carter for one last chance. It's the same thing here. I was waiting for you to break out in tears over this. You come off like such a sniffling bitch. And I hate to say that about you, man. You seem really cool and you do good commentaries, but in this video, it doesn't really represent you well. And then, of course, there's the Dread Dormammu. I've been meaning to get to this cunt flap.
And again with the word cunt flap. Two things. A, why are you calling a dude a cunt flap? And B, this hyperbolic nature of Geek is getting way out of control. Nevertheless, I'll drink to that.
For a little bit. Now, he's at the epicenter of this because...
Well, not to be a major nitpick, but I consider Joshua the focus of the situation. Dormammu would be the epicenter. if he wanted to discuss things in terms of seismic terminology. But then again, I'd be as tangential as Geek was a couple minutes ago.
Of the whole little thing I brought up between him and Joshua. Now then, Dormammu, you go around blaming Joshua for what happened to you, when from the sounds of it, it's completely your own fault. First of all, you two didn't get along already, so how the fuck did you expect him to take anything you were saying serious? And you got mad and raged at him for him ignoring you, or watching YouTube videos and laughing at the YouTube videos.
To an extent, I kinda agree. What he did was rather hasty. But then again, Joshua did not help matters from the start of the conversation when he was simply doing the opposite of what Ariana and Paul K. Dragonmaster asked him to do. Dormammu is the kind of person that demands respect, and I think that if that respect is not given to him, he isn't too happy about it. I can't really speak much for either side since I was not in the call, so I will not be at liberty to say who shot first. But the point here is this, Geek. If you were not in the call itself, then how could you reach this conclusion without suffering from bias? Just asking.
And you were so fucking dumb to not check and see if your parents were there. First of all, you should have never even raged. You should have just left the fucking call right then and there. But you have to go on and rage, and your dumbass wasn't smart enough to just turn around and see if anyone was at the door. So don't blame Joshua for your own learning impairedness, alright?
Outright hyperbole. You know, by the end of this commentary, I will most likely be highly caffeinated, but I'll get over it. Drinking time.
Oh, another thing about Ariana, she's a fucking hypocrite. She is a hypocrite. Why? In her last video on Joshua, she did a rendition of Portal 2 with her sprite characters, basically saying, this is the last time I'm never going to talk about Joshua. Then she made a video later on talking about Joshua again, but it was also more about herself and how she hates her own emotions and all. But I thought that's where we were going to lay it where it lies. I thought it's dead, we're going to kill it, we're going to nip it in the bud.
And considering Joshua refuses to move on from this, I don't think he really wants to nip it in the bud. At least Ariana's attempting to move on, whereas Joshua is literally reminding us time and time again that he's embroiled in conflict with Ariana. He is making no attempt to move on. Compare no attempt with some attempt. Which carries more weight?
Nope. What do I see only a couple days after the fact? A new commentary. A brand new commentary. And you gotta love this. In the comment section, she says this is the final time she's gonna talk about Joshua. So apparently, those other ones don't count. This is the real time. She really, really, really means it this time. This is the last time she's ever gonna talk about Joshua.
You know, I really did not know anything about this until quite recently, and while I will say that the approach is rather novel, it is kinda a reiteration of the drama. However, Ariana is trying to come at this with a more comedic approach, rather than her serious tone that she had used in her previous videos. I mean, yes, I agree that the I used a different version of me defense is a bit low grade, but at least she tried to denature the situation by approaching this more cooled and collected. At least in my opinion, anyway.
And you gotta love her other argument of why this video is justified. Because you see, it wasn't really her, it was her character. She has apparently two characters, Ariana, the good and sweet little girl, and then this whorish looking bat rabbit who's supposed to be the bad cop, the bad version. So her character did it. It wasn't really her. Okay. When I know people like Kev Dragon 32H and Phoenix Angel Gal, who probably sniffed the used panties of Ariana, are going to comment on my video.
Point A. Misnomer number, who's keeping track? It's Kev Dragon H32. Though at least you got Phoenix Angel Gal's username right. And point B. Such epic hyperbole right there, Geek. I think you should win the Ad Hominem Award for best usage of Ad Hominem arguments while sounding like you're legitimately mad about the whole situation. And to celebrate, a drink shall be consumed.
You know what? I'm going to protect myself right now, because this isn't the real me. This is just a character. This is the evil version of me. This is the... You know what? Hold on a second. E. B.
Hey Geek, a word of advice. Windows Movie Maker is your best friend.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end.
You see that? Evil. Ooh. There you go. So you can't leave any criticism because it's the evil version of me. Maybe the good version will come back in the next video and we'll have a really shitty fight scene with bad special effects. I think I should wrap it up here, because if I go any further, it's going to just get absolutely insane.
As he accrues more reasons as to why Joshua should be ignored and why Ariana should be criticized every single moment of her life on YouTube. I'm glad you're ending the video here because 10 minutes is an awfully long time to devote on Joshua's and Ariana's ordeal. I know people are going to say, but YoungBlood, your commentary extended the time. That may be true, but at least I'm not the one rashly making claims that Ariana is to blame for everything whilst having a post-it sticking to my shirt.
The point is, Ariana's acting like the victim when in actuality she's a fucking child and at the same time a snake.
And yet you factor out that Joshua was playing the victim card too. I don't see why you intentionally ignore this every time you bring Ariana up. That indicates to me that you are biased about the situation, even if you have seen a multitude of videos. I may be coming to Ariana's defense here, but I'm not portraying either of them to be perfect angels. You, on the other hand, seem to paint Joshua as if he was this completely the victim of Ariana's game, which in actuality is mostly untrue. And guess what, you guys? Geek utilized hyperbole. Imbibe, dear friends. Imbibe.
Joshua is not to blame for this, for you and Dormammu's incompetence.
But Joshua is to blame for continually being a catalyst in the situation and for still making videos in response to Ariana and to other people criticizing him. He made the situation worse on his own as well, and even Ariana attempted to look past Joshua's errors, but apparently Joshua did not want to look past Ariana's errors. It is really the collective faults of everyone who overreacted, but Joshua was the one who overreacted the most with his reactions on Skype to us and to every video on his channel dedicated to the drama at hand. That, to me, is blameworthy.
You both are idiots, and really, you guys, you know, you say that Joshua needs to leave the internet and become more mature.
And in response, he is swamp-brained enough to shout out, "I will never leave YouTube!" You know who else uttered ththose words? ShadowDeheji5678, and wait, what? He closed his account? When did that happen?
It's sort of like the kettle calling it black, because that's exactly what you need to do. You said it in your video that people are going to start calling you the next Chris Chan. Well, trust me, it's already fucking happening.
Okay, Chris Chan is the personification of mental instability. Ariana? Chris Chan? I fail to see the comparison because I cannot imagine Ariana humping a PS3. I really can't.
I'm just some random geek, and I be out. Peace.
And that's the way it is. You know, Geek, you remind me of a lawyer coming to the defense of someone who has been accused of committing multiple premeditated murders and comes into court with a bloody jacket and a signed and sealed notarized form that he murdered someone, if such a thing existed. Seriously, man, it is refreshing to see an alternate point, but not in the way you present it. The maturity level here was almost negligible. I thought you were going to be incredibly informative, especially when you summarized the whole Joshua Tree incident in a matter of 30 seconds. But when you called Ariana and Dormammu cunt flaps and Ariana's friends idiots and other associated expletives, then you come across as a vituperative and incredulous user because 60% of your arguments consist of blatant ad hominem attacks. They are invalid. It's like the butthurt crossover fans that left ad hominem idiocy on my rants, except in this case you're more receptive to other opinions. I respect the fact that you dare to be different, but in that effort you came across as a merely pissed off guy insulting others with a post-it stuck to his shirt. Enough said. And by the way, even though you say time and time again that you are not defending Joshua, in actuality, you are by trying to absolve Joshua of all blame and transfer the blame to Ariana. Joshua's reputation preceded him, dude. That sort of ass-hurt behavior is a staple of Joshua's, and you have to understand that. And I guess your reputation kind of preceded you, given that you accuse everyone of hearsay, and yet your comments about Ampharos Man and Melody were totally not derived from hearsay either. What fantastic irony, isn't it?